Rosa was not a nice person. She was known to be mean, and now I realize mean people like me as much as men who are DL, a complete reflection of my dad. Yet she liked nice things, shared my interests in self care routines and TV dramedies, and became a temporary band aid to an immensely harsh year where life was determined to teach me detachment. I had asked if she could pick up some mail for me, and she was kind enough to do so. At the time, she was dating a white guy and unfortunately thought it was a flex. Colonization really did make a lot of BIPOC people fetishize whiteness as beauty and civility, because historically that is what we have been taught, and Rosa was no different. He was her third white guy ever, and the first one after an immense dry spell, which made her mind ring with more wedding bells than alarm ones. He's cheated on his exes, and I appreciate the honesty, she declared in her living room while serving herself some white wine. Oh, I said while internally passing away. Interesting. Yeah, we're both single now, and he has this ex that she says they're still together online, but he told me that she's crazy. She chuckled casually. Oh, interesting, I replied blankly. Rosa had given me once a 20-minute lashing because her Uber left her 4 blocks away from my address and she had to walk. Yet she went on 2 dates with this white guy and she was ready to throw herself in front of one. I was confused. She was petty, irritable, and paranoid by nature, but refused to be such things in the very sector of life everyone should be, or at least every woman: dating. Still, I was determined to grow out of my habit of telling people the truths they were blatantly avoiding. My honesty had cost me too much, and in the end, people liked their lies. So I just nodded. Interesting. It was morning. The prior night, she could not stop talking about her newfound love, and I sent her a giddy voice text. Ah, you are so in love. The next day, I woke up to a message of her saying that she had picked up my package, but she was ready to throw it out. Don't be a bitch or I will throw out your stuff. This relationship means something to me. I'm already tired of carrying your effing ish. I was frozen, torn between my shock of her stupidity and the sincere desire to go Google how to slap someone via text. In being raised by a volatile family with the emotional calibration of a nuclear power plant known as Chernobyl, I always chose calm in my reactions, but I've wondered how healthy that was because, on one hand, yes, assholes love to fight, but on another hand, I may know how to walk away from a situation literally, but not always spiritually. I could diffuse fights, but found myself continuing them in my head, which is why I became so determined to no longer hang out with needy, narcissistic people. I was not their emotional support animal for their bad humor or bad choices. Yet she did have my things. I did not mean it like that, I wrote simply. We had agreed she would give it to me at a friend's party, where I would finally meet the vanilla swirling her chocolate. His name was Derek. He was from Connecticut, and he kind of looked like a twink version of an Abercrombie and Fitch model. He had their face, but any ounce of muscle or height was sucked out of him like a vacuum. I was eager to meet the man that had silenced Rosa's usual bite to have her just rip on her friends. Surely he was so fun and thoughtful, especially in conversation. It explained why she disappeared from our usual hangouts and became the moodiest bitch. Hey, nice to meet you, I said. Hey, same, he replied. So where are you from, I asked. Connecticut. Cool, I replied, and waited. But the "and you" never came. I would like to say it was because the music and chatter of the party was so loud, but we barely could hear each other. And we barely could hear each other. Yet, because we were exchanging stuff, Rose and I actually came to the party at 7, which in Latino time means the party's going to start at 9 or 10, and you're just going to end up unfolding chairs. I could not stop thinking him the rest of the night. He said 3 sentences to me, which made me the only person next to Rosa he talked the most with, which I hope did not spark her erratic envy. Yet she was smitten. She had a white man, a dream, and an inevitable breakup 3 months later. She would say it was her choice, but I doubted it. Instead, she became another crazy ex in his list, and I an old friend that once texted her. All right, let's heal, let's discuss. I do think, I was thinking about this like a few months ago, about how, especially in terms of my relationship with my narcissistic parents and a lot of the narcissists that have passed through my life, there is this kind of, I beat you down so much and I aggrandize myself to the point that you feel honored to be with me, even though when you make a list of all my actions, it doesn't sound good. Oh, you've cheated? Oh, you call all your exes crazy? And I say that because I think history is very narcissistic, conquistadors that did mass rape and genocide are now explorers, and it's there is this kind of way of you hear all the sins and yet they're categorized as saints. And I think that manifests into how BIPOC women can fetishize white men. And this kind of, oh, he's going to treat me better. He's going to treat me wonderful. I'm going to own a home, which is an inside joke a lot with a lot of BIPOC women. Like, oh, yeah, we're going to own property. We went from being the property to owning it. And there was this element when I met him, I was like, he really is just white. Like, he's not, there was such a grandiosity that she had over him. And she did mention it a bunch of times. Oh, he's white, he's white, he's white. And I think that fetishizing of a white man as beautiful and civil added on to the fact that she hadn't really dated in 3 to 4 years made her like consumed by this relationship. Finally, the one is here. But she is, I don't, I don't, she's a mean person. She's known as being mean. She's known as being very bitey. She's known as being difficult. And I can't imagine that didn't pop up in the relationship. It just was a very diluted version. And then you match that this is somebody who is already lying and already covering up and already trying to look like the best human being to land on the planet. It's just not going to be good, because if you're hiding your rage issues so that he can continue his lying one, that I don't know how long things were going to last. Thank God there wasn't a marriage, right? But it was just this moment of like, ugh. Pure ugh. And I think it triggered my mom wound in the sense of I was a witness to the women in my family consistently getting stepped on by men and then ripping each other's heads off over how to clean a plate. And it just turned me off. And if you look at prior episodes, I'm not the type of person to fight back. I like my calm, I like my power, and I don't always know how to defend me, because I think my peace is my power. But yet I have had a life where I've consistently faced off with mean, petty people. And in seeing that there's a parental root to that, I'm healing it. And I think I'm healing it by saying I just don't need to hang out with these people. If there's a red flag, respect it and walk away. Because if you hang out with somebody who's known as mean, they are going to be mean to you. And if your peace is your power, you're not going to find peace with a mean person. And I think that's where I'm developing. A lot of my life has been people pleasing, prickly personalities until they stopped pricking. And that never happened. But it's also been, there's a difference between accepting people are flawed and just genuinely looking for your match. You'll never find a perfect person, but you could find a right person for you. And that's where I'm kind of adapting. Like, I don't need to make someone right for me. They need to be right for me, and then we'll work things out. And I think that moment was just like one giant turnoff, because I think Custard had more personality than this guy. And it was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You have sharp teeth by nature. But, choices are choices. And we went back to Connecticut. Check out theandrewrizal.com for daddy recovery articles. Follow me on all platforms. And please check out Hardin, Hardi accented IN, on all music platforms. God love you.